So the art of telling a man no. I think that's something that all women should have readily available to access, and it's interesting because in general, we need to all be able to stand up for ourselves and come to our own defense and our own aid. The same way in which we do that for other people, our loved ones, our friends, even acquaintances sometimes, even strangers, complete strangers, you are more likely sometimes to come to their aid or come to their defense if you see that they're being wronged or treated badly or not being considered. Any of those things, we'll rush to the defense and aid of those people, but we won't do that for ourselves. So as a general rule, we should all be trying to foster habits that will empower us to be able to show up for ourselves the same way we show up for other people. So just a little disclaimer before anything. But being able to tell a man no, that's what we're going to talk about today, okay? We're going to do another real talk video, real talk, okay? And I just want to shoot some game with y'all again for those that don't know, that are kind of new to the BMC. Real talk, we just shooting it straight, right? A lot of women are doormats. And this is not me trying to be trying to exercise my opinion in this way in a braggadocious or arrogant way, because while I may have not had struggles with that as far as dating and relationships are concerned, I definitely have had baggage where I accepted treatment that I did not deserve. So don't feel like it's coming from a judgmental place. But a lot of women are doormats, flat out. Meaning you will allow a man to treat you way, way below your standard line, okay? A lot of young ladies and older women as well don't even have a baseline of respect that once you go beyond these boundaries, it's over. It's a wrap. All bets are off, And if they do, it's on the far end of the spectrum as it pertains to like abuse, whether that be physical, verbal, manipulative behavior, gaslighting, like heavy gaslighting and manipulation and things like that. Like those may sometimes be the barriers that women will say, okay, hold on now. I know that this is not right in my spirit. It's not telling, my spirit is telling me that this is not right. But that's worst case scenario. There is no way we should be getting to a point where we are in our worst case scenario, below baseline before we realize that we're in a situation where we're not being valued or considered or loved appropriately. Being able to say no gives you permission to accept the fact that you matter as well, right? Because we don't walk around with mirrors in our face all day long. We are looking, our POV is projected outward and we see everything else, but we're not able to see ourselves. So even by human nature, I think it may be easier sometimes to care for somebody else or consider somebody else's feelings before we consider our own. In the same way too, women, like I feel like we're also kind of made that way. So we're comprised of a lot of those attributes that will allow us to put other people before ourselves, make sure other people eat before we eat, cleaning up behind people, and just kind of doing for people and caring for people in ways that we are not caring for ourselves. So by default, we already have a lot of those innate qualities within us. Because of that, as women, we have to be extremely cautious and careful about the energy that we allow to cipher through our world. We have to be very, very, first line of defense in figuring out who's going to be trying to penetrate that wall. And we definitely need to have standards for ourselves, baseline things that we will not let get violated, no matter who it is that we're dealing with or talking to. And I'm talking to ladies that are dating, in relationships, married, on their way out of their marriage, thinking about breaking up with their partners, single but dealing with different guys, but maybe not getting the treatment that you want. I'm talking to everybody. So let's talk about what makes a woman a doormat. How does a woman evolve into that doormat energy? Like how does she end up, transforming or morphing into that? Because I don't believe that we are born that way. I do believe that that is a conditioned behavior. And I think that, more often than not, it's, based on situations where from the very beginning, the inception of our self-development and self-esteem, was usually abused, neglected, taken for granted, all of those things. And it's like that little girl inside of us, it's like a matter of just always trying to play catch up to get to that unconditional, love and value and all of those things. So if we start off, a lot of women that are doormats, if you trace it back, a lot of women do have father issues, daddy issues. We've done videos on that. We've talked about that. I have been very open about my own daddy issues and things that I have had to overcome through my development and my soul's journey. And it can be very difficult, and can be very challenging. You have to acknowledge that. You cannot run from that, because all of those different things are going to be the premise and the foundation for your life and trajectory moving forward, especially within your relationship with your man. Like, it is going to pop out in ways you probably never could have even fathomed, so you really, really, really have to be aware of that. But I think it starts with some of the daddy issues. We've also talked on the channel too about sometimes, even though you do have daddy in the house, maybe daddy wasn't as present for you as you would have hoped or liked. Maybe there was favoritism. Maybe you had a younger sister, maybe you had an older brother, or different things like that, where maybe you didn't get the attention that you felt like you needed. You didn't feel like, you didn't get the treatment and the acknowledgement and the love and the praise, adoration, and there were different things that you may not have gotten access to as a result of your living situation or your living circumstances. So it's not just for the daddyless daughters or daughters that have had strained relationships with their fathers. It's also for women that have maybe had fathers in the house and maybe there was some neglect happening there. There's also the instance where I feel like, some people grew up in houses where you do have mom and dad there, but mom is completely subservient to her man. And not in the most healthy and positive way, where there's a constant flow and exchange of love and bending and compromising and doing for one another, that kind of, shows you the healthy balance of being able to take care of a man. But if you've seen, your mother bend over backwards for men that did very, very little for her, bare minimum for her, bare minimum for you, whether that be your father or other men that she dated or whatever, if, these same men did not also show you as a woman what your value is, any of those circumstances or instances could potentially present a problem down the line when it comes to what you feel your standards are based on how you feel about yourself. So I think that's one of the first key indicators and things to look at when we talk about how women develop into being doormats. In addition to that, of course, through the course of dating and learning the game, and being out here just kind of getting your heart broke, breaking some hearts maybe, just kind of playing the game of love, right? All of those situations are going to have a bearing too on what you will allow to pass and what you won't. And I do think that, again, through the course of womanhood and journeying through womanhood, we all are going to be in situations at some point in time where we probably accepted way less than we deserve. And I think when we are cognizant and aware of that for the first time, and that can happen at any age because we all have different, time frames as far as, when we maybe enter into a serious relationship. Maybe some of us are in school for 10 years trying to become a doctor. We didn't have no time to date. Now we're dating. So it just, it fluctuates and it does change. But at that moment that you step into that relationship or situation or circumstance where you were dealing with a man and you were accepting way less than you deserve, after that first time, when this is not it. The yelling, the fighting, the arguing, the neglect, the disrespect, the unreliability, the irresponsibility, the instability, the lying, all of the different integrity markers that they keep missing. Once we've had that one situation, from that point on, we have two choices. We can either go down the path where we allow that to be the imprint on our mind that we keep with us, not to keep us, bound or held back, but to help us push forward and understand what we will and won't tolerate for our own self-protection, our own self-love. Either you go that route, or the other route is going to be, believing whatever this man has told you, whether that be a verbal or nonverbal cue of who you are, because you don't know. Because you haven't taken any time to really figure it out. You haven't taken any time to really start doing that shadow work and kind of figuring out, okay, who am I? Why? Where have I went wrong? Who did me wrong? What are my things? What baggage am I carrying? You want to know what you are up against. But if you go that route, all things considered, all of the things that you've been through, all of the things that, made you who you are, and you decide to still stay and believe what that person is telling you about yourself, you're going to see that that's going to be a snowball effect. And the more times you do it, the more you're going to believe it. Meaning the more times that you do it, the more men that you allow to get by not meeting your baseline standard of respect. You're going to keep meeting the same man over and over and over, and you're not going to even have the boundaries necessary to be able to vet properly what men belong in your space and which men don't. And again, this goes across all different types of relationship statuses, from married to single. Like, you know, a lot of the times, even in relationships and in marriages, a lot of us are in relationships and marriages for fear of being single or being by ourselves or having to start over, or this person may be finding joy or happy within somebody else's household. And we are bound by that, and we allow a lot more than we should. You know, all of it starts here with when you look in the mirror, when nobody else is around. You know, a lot of us have a lot of distractions too. A lot of us are, it could go on and on. Social media, food, going out, vices, you know, TV, you know, other, you know, just being, there's all these different things. People sometimes drown themselves in their work, you know, so you're doing something positive, or maybe even helping people or volunteering, right? Like I was saying, even if it's in the instance of you being a volunteer or something, you help the elders and you participate in elder activities every weekend, you know, at the local senior citizen center to keep your mind occupied. So although you're doing something positive, you're also distracting away from your own healing and self-development. And when you get by yourself and you're in the mirror, really trying to figure out, okay, what is it? Because there's something that ends up gnawing at you, right? You end up feeling something spiritually. That's the gift that we have as women, right? To feel when something is off. And when you are by yourself and you feel it and you're, you know, it is what it is. There's nothing that you can do about it but stay within that vibration and continuously get beat down by yourself and others, or start really like, okay, from this day forward, I'm going to start doing the work. From this day forward, I'm going to start peeling apart my onion and figuring out what layers are here. What do I have here to work with? What cards have I been dealt? What can I do from what, you know, with what I have here, and how can I move forward? You have to start strategizing and plotting and planning. And again, a lot of these, you know, a lot of us that are on these jobs and we are devising these master marketing plans and all of these, you know, master things at all of these super big companies and social media marketing and all of these different things. Imagine if you put that strategy into your own life, your own life's purpose, your own life's path. Imagine putting that same energy into yourself. See, when you build yourself up to a certain degree, nobody can infiltrate that system. Nobody. Not only that, you're 110% more confident in being able to say, that doesn't work for me. I'm good. Nah, I don't like that. No. And there's so much power in your no, which gives even more power to your yes. And not only that, just a sidebar and tangent, the more that we get comfortable with telling men no, when we do give them that yes, they will appreciate it. You know, my mom used to always tell me, I hate to put you on blast, mama, you know, and I don't necessarily have this ideology from a demeaning place. So all of my male subscribers, don't be mad, but this is the truth. And I know y'all probably have had y'all, you know, dad and pops and uncle powwows where, you know, they have some sayings or different mantras about women as well. My mom used to always compare young men, especially, to like little puppies or little boys. Although men say a lot, right? Because they're in big boy bodies now, right? They're in big boy bodies. They got facial hair, they got muscles, they're, you know what I'm saying, strong and all of these different things. So we're looking at them like grown ass men based on the aesthetic. However, a lot of men, especially young men, deep inside are still little boys and need to be guided and need to be led in certain ways. And you must set the standard for how that man will treat you. It's almost like a child. Like, you're not going to say, okay, little Timmy, do whatever you want to do your homework when you want to, take your bath and eat when you want to. You know, I'll circle back with you in the morning. We'll see where we're at. And I'll, you know, see how you want to go about handling school in the morning, okay? What time you want to get up and, you know, what time I should drive. No. Like, we are responsible as women, as the matriarchs of our situations, right? The woman of the household, okay? Even if you don't live with the man, but the woman of your dominion of over your kingdom, over yourself, your sacred space, right? You hold that power. So you don't wait for them to instruct you. You set the tone. And the right man will follow. And I don't want you guys to get this misconstrued. I want to make sure that you're listening here and not necessarily just here, because I'm not saying, especially for the men too that made, you know, all of that stuff that a lot of y'all be on this YouTube stuff and women trying to do. This is not that channel. If you don't believe me, go back to the other videos. I'm an advocate for both sides at all times. So it's not in an arrogant way like, bro, you gonna do this. We waking up at 10 o'clock. Make sure you got your boots and everything and your backpack ready or I'm on your ass. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that, you know, over certain areas of life, yes, we have dominion over that, especially as it pertains to the standards of which you treat me. I have dominion over that for sure, for sure. And you should know that as a woman, you should know that you have dominion over yourself. If it's a no, it's a no. So if you are consistently allowing men that you are dating, dealing with, in relationship with, married to, friends with, if you're continuously letting them set the tone by calling you when they want to, being in your life as it is convenient for them, being unavailable and unreliable for you when you may need them, meaning if you call them in the middle of the night and you need them to help you with a tire, or you are in distress, or there is somebody that is bothering you and threatening your space, that is a man, you know, can they come to your defense? If they are not doing those things, they are not following through with what they said they're going to do, if they're just not an integrous person like on their own, if they don't have integrity of their own, of how they handle, you know, business, about how they treat their friends, their own mother, the women in their family. Like, if you're seeing this and you're a part of that pathology and that cycle, it's time to do work, because you, my friend, are a doormat. And as much as we would like to believe that men are like us, loving, caring, compassionate, empathetic, although they may have some of those qualities sporadically throughout the spectrum, you know, just based on their own life and experiences, that's not necessarily what they lead with or what may be some of their natural abilities, right? Our natural ability is to do that. So we may think that if we exhibit signs of weakness, the men will see that and gravitate to it or feel sorry for us. A lot of us do feel like a man will have empathy to say, wow, she's going through this, or she's been through that, or her father wasn't there, or she has these issues, or, you know, I treated her wrong, I feel bad. No. Because they understand self-preservation. Self-preservation. I have to preserve myself. I have to preserve my own self-interest. They are going to be their number one advocates at all times. Now, once you get to a certain level with the man, I do believe that he can flip it on and off like a light switch and, you know, decide, not only am I going to be, once he has his family and he really has a woman that he's connected to, now I'm taking care of everybody in that same way. All of this is my responsibility, but this is a decision that he has to make, you know, and which is a lot of the reason it's a heavy responsibility, which is why a lot of men also are not going to be knocking and beating down your door, especially if you giving doormat vibes, you know, to come in and be that responsible stoic figure, because it's not even being required. And it is a lot on the back of a man that has to carry that. And men are not stupid. I say that in almost every video. Y'all have to really get that out of your head. Men are not just oblivious to the games and stuff that we play, the manipulations and little things that we do to think, you know, things that we think they don't notice. When a man is treating you in a certain way that is below par and below standard, he knows that. Because while you're accepting below par behavior and energy and all of that, there's another woman that's not. And that's the woman that he's probably chasing. And you're trying to figure out why you're being so sweet and kind and loving to him and all of these different things, and he's not being reactive to you. He's probably doing that for somebody else who is requiring him to meet those standards. And if he's not, then maybe he's treating 10 girls like a doormat. The pickings are slim, you know what I'm saying? It's that type of party out here, y'all. So I just want y'all to be careful. Like I said, the way to circumvent being taken advantage of, being walked over, being treated poorly, all of these different things, you need to check in with self. When did this doormat behavior begin? When did I start feeling like this was okay? Because if we were watching a movie, if we were watching one of our friends go through the same thing, or our mother or our aunt, whatever, we wouldn't think it was okay. So why is it okay for us to have to deal with that? Why is it okay for us to be abused and misused and not treated respectfully? with love and honor and appreciation. Then try to find the common thread that exists between that and who you are today and what you know, allow from the men that you deal with today. How did we get to this point? And once you realize that, the biggest thing about the whole video, if you don't get anything else for this whole video, and I'm so glad that you stayed to the end to really get this last key gem, there is no easy way around telling a man no, especially a man that you care about. Because we are women, like I said, because we have that very warm and just, we just, you know, want to take everything into our bosom and love it to death. That's what we do. We treat our men the same way, even when they mess up. Just like if our son make a mess in the kitchen and spill something in the kitchen, you know what I'm saying? And he feel bad and he was sorry. He knew he was leaning on something he wasn't supposed to, knocked it all over. Now I got to clean it up behind him. Now he's crying, oh, poor baby, I'm sorry. Or maybe he gets mad at us. Maybe he gets mad at us and it has a temper tantrum. And we don't get mad at him. What do? We pick him. Okay, baby, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We do the same thing to our men a lot of times, which we should not be doing, especially, again, if we're in those kind of situations where we're not being treated fairly. And so what we want to do is, even when a man is in the wrong, we don't want to hold him accountable, right? We may try to hold him accountable verbally, which really just sounds like a whole bunch of this, right? Men respect action. Okay, men are action-oriented creatures. Okay, verbal things work for us. So that's why if, you know, somebody calls us the B word in a fit of rage or something like that, we ready to take our earrings off. You know what I'm saying? And of course, men can be that same way too, but we respond heavily to sound and words and emotional exchanges. Men respect action. So why you talking about all of this stuff you gonna do, not gonna do, you about to move on, this is the last time, I'm not taking you back after this, I'm not dealing with this no more, I don't like that you treated me like this, don't call me, I'm about to... Let me take a drink, child. Like, seriously, he doesn't believe it, baby, because you have to show and prove. So that time, this is the way you do it, okay? If you have gotten to a point, we'll do another video on that. I was about to give y'all some, we're gonna do another video on that. I'm gonna hold it, but I will say this, and this will keep y'all, you know, tuned in. So next time we can do some tips as to how you really, what are some of the practical ways in which you can tell a man no? What are some examples and scenarios and situations and how you can pivot out and be strong enough to tell a man no? But what I will tell you is you need to make sure that you're telling him no. If you don't feel like you're treated fairly, if you don't feel like you're treated properly, and you need to be able to stand on that. If you're saying you're not gonna call, don't call. If you're saying you're done talking to him, do not pick up his phone calls. None of them. No text message, no phone call, no voicemail, no DM, no trying to get in contact with you through your friend. Nothing. Okay? At least for a substantial period of time. 2 weeks to a month, 30 days. You know, he called you one time, you at the phone. You might miss one phone call, and on the second or third, you right back. No, it takes balls, ladies. You know what I mean? Not literally, but figuratively. You know, you have to really have your grown woman panties on and be able to stand up and advocate for yourself and not bend or break, okay? That's how you step out of that doormat energy and begin reclaiming your power and feeling strong enough to stand up and advocate for yourself by saying no. Okay, you guys, so this has been another Real Talk video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know how you feel in the comments. Ladies, if you have been called a doormat, which I hope you haven't, but if you want to be transparent, or if you just know for a fact that you've been a doormat in the past, or if you're currently one, let me know in the comments. And all my dual subscribers, let me know too, like, what are some of the signs that women show you that indicate to you that she may be giving doormat vibes? Is that a turn on? Is that a turn off? Let me know all of it in the comments. I'll see you guys next week. And yeah, I love you. Peace.